Hi everyone, this is Mike again. Welcome to this review of the Progressive Foundry SDX latest expansion pack for Superior Drummer. Toontrack released this one in 2015 during the Metal Month, and I immediately grabbed a copy after the release when I saw the making of on Toontrack's website. You really have to check it out. Really cool. You get some great detailed information about the kits they used, about the gear they used. Really cool stuff. So the Progressive Foundry, though it's called Progressive Foundry, it's my new go-to library for nearly every style, just due to its pure amount of instruments that come along and the great sounding quality. Let me start with some facts. We have 17 snare drums, 5 kits in general that you can choose from. You have a total of 17 snare drums, 9 kick drums, 5 set of toms. You have 31 cymbals, including 6 different bright cymbals. You have 5 pair of heads. You have 26 mixer channels to choose from, which all sums up to 63 gigabyte of raw data you have to install on your hard disk. So you really need some space for this one. But Toontrack and Forrester Seville, the producer, mixing producer for this pack, really went overboard. They set the new standard for me for drum software in general. When you compare the Progressive Foundry to some of the other expansion packs, they really missed any chance to put great sounding drums on this one. This is the only disadvantage of some other of the expansion packs. You sometimes have a lack of snare drums or toms or cymbals. They sound great for themselves, but the Progressive Foundry is really that versatile to cover really heavy music. For example, the snare drums. The Mapix Black Panther maple snare is kind of the default snare that comes along. This is a modern maple snare. Fits perfectly for rock, metal, progressive, that style. But you can really go overboard with some really vintage style sounding snare drums like this Ludwig super sensitive brass snare from 27. And what's great in general about all those samples is the greatness of detail that those snare drums or instruments in general have. I will show you. Let's load this DW copper snare drum. That's sustain. I really love that. You have another classical snare drums, the Pearl, which is shorter. Same for the kick drums. The DW Collector's Maple kick drum, kind of the default kick. Great sounding, but you really can choose different styles like this Ludwig from 1959 when you want to achieve like a big open Led Zeppelin style, to some really, really focused kick drums. And to some warm, big, like this fat 24 by 22 Orange County kick drum. Same for the toms. The DW Collector's Maple is the default kit. Really great, but also the other kits like the Pearl Masters. You see here, not every kit have 5 toms. I think it's only the DW that comes along with 5 toms. Sometimes you just have 4 toms or 3 toms, depends on the kit. But when you listen to those toms, for example, they all have a different character, but they all sound great for themselves. Or the opposite, the really low fat floor toms, 16 by 18. And listen how natural and great they sound. Same for the cymbals. They really picked some really sought after collection of cymbals, Zildjian vintage style, modern sounding, like this A custom, really cool. What I've never seen before in any expansion pack is those Pasty 2002 Black Label series. You get this one in a 20-inch configuration and an 18-inch configuration. The heads, Zildjian, Pasty, and Sabian. But of course you have not only classical crash cymbals, you have some China options, some stack cymbals, some effect crashes, or this really cool sounding stack cymbal. The rides, my favorite ride is the Pasty 2002 again. Love this one too, the vintage ride. The mixer channel, some really common stuff. They went some overboard with the kick drum. We have 5 different kick drum microphones where you can choose from. I usually just pick one of them for the inside mic, the kick out and the kick sub, and combine them during my mixing process. You have 5 different overheads, a pair of overheads, so you can really do some crazy and creative ways of combining those channels to get a good sound. We have 3 different or 4 different ambient microphones, 1 mono, 3 in stereo. Just take a listen to them. Oops, I have to pick a groove, of course. Let's pick this one. But you can hear right from the box the ambience or the room mics, the drums were recorded in were not that big like in some of the other expansion packs. So that's one thing that you really need to be aware of when going for the Progressive Foundry. This may not fit right off the box for some big open rock. You have to add some reverb afterwards. But for all of you working with Superior Drummer, like this is no plug and play solution, of course, are aware of that anyway. Some cool channels what I really like are those 2. The Kit Rear, a microphone that was placed behind the drummer. I will just load this channel. This is a really cool effect that you can blend in with your existing microphones. So just wait for the samples to be loaded. So you have quite of a little distortion. Same for the underkit. So this gives a great effect when you have this kit going on, like the clean channels that I showed before, and then you mix in those 2 channels. There's too much. And what I like about this one when I play my parts on my eDrum set using the Progressive Foundry, because it sounds like it was recorded in a good and decent studio, this gives me some kind of a comfortable feeling when you play, and it really doesn't depend what kit you use. Usually I start with I have an own preset here, but matches my existing eDrum kit, 3 toms, some cymbals, and usually this is my starting point when I recorded a cover or some music for the band. So this is what I hear when I play my parts on an eDrum set. Lastly, I want to shut down the library for now. This is the mix that I've done recently. This is my one of my latest covers, the Pop Evil Monster You Made drum cover. Let's have a listen. This is the version you probably or maybe have heard on my channel.
I'm torn from my mistakes and I stop believing that I could ever make things change. How much can I take when I know that it hurts?
So what you hear now is the Progressive Foundry. I will mute the song for a moment and all of the effects, so you just have to listen to the drums. And as you can hear, there's quite a lot of processing going on. Just like I said, the Progressive Foundry, just like any other Toontrack library, is no plug-and-play software. You really have to work on those afterwards, but you can really get some great results because of the sonic quality and the recording quality of those samples. So I will just now mute those effect channels, and I will bypass all the plugins I used and all the processing I used for this one. So this is the sound when I started. Really good sounding, clean sounding drums, but of course they need some processing. So that was for me. I hope this one helped you out just a little bit. Hope you have some fun with listening to the samples in part 2 of the series. If you have any questions regarding the Progressive Foundry, the instruments, my mixing approach, or anything else, please leave a comment below. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you didn't like it. Anyway, that was for me. Hope you're having a good time. See you next time, and bye bye.